Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stumble through the same relationship patterns again and again? Or why a brilliant, successful person in their 40s might describe themselves as feeling utterly lost? What if I told you that your life, from the moment you were born to the moment you die, is navigating a single epic roadmap? Not a map of places, but of psychological challenges. And according to one revolutionary thinker, every single one of us is on this same journey, facing a series of 8 make or break crises that define who we are. This isn't about memorizing stages for a psychology test. This is about understanding the hidden architecture of your own life story. This is Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. And unlike other theories that stop at adolescence, Erikson's bold proposition was that we never stop developing. Our personality isn't fixed at age 18, it is a story we are writing with every conflict, every relationship, every choice, from our first breath to our last. But who was Erikson to give us this map? His own life was the first test of his theory. Born in Germany to a Danish mother, he never knew his biological father. He grew up as Erik Homburger, teased for his Nordic looks in a Jewish community. He was an artist, a wanderer, before he became a teacher and later a psychoanalyst trained by Anna Freud, Sigmund's daughter. He even changed his name, inventing his own identity, Erik Erikson, literally, Erik, son of Erik. His entire life was a quest to answer his own central question: what makes a self? This personal struggle birthed a theory that was deeply human, focused not on animal instincts, but on our essential need to connect and find meaning within our society. So, let's walk this lifelong path. It begins, as we all do, in utter dependency. Stage 1. Trust versus mistrust. From birth to about 18 months, the world is a blur of need and sensation. The question being asked of life is simple: is my world safe and predictable? This is negotiated in the arms of a caregiver. When a baby cries and is consistently met with comfort, food, and warmth, they develop a foundational trust, not just in others, but in the universe itself. They learn that need is not a crisis. If needs are neglected or met with hostility, the seed of mistrust is planted. The world becomes an unreliable, frightening place. The outcome isn't 100% trust, but a balance. We all need a healthy dash of mistrust to stay safe, but the core needs to lean toward hope. Stage 2. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. As a toddler, you discover a monumental new word: no. This isn't just defiance, it's the birth of the will. The crisis here is about control. Can I do things for myself, or must I always depend on others? This plays out in potty training, in choosing clothes, in the desperate "I do it" declaration. Parents who encourage safe exploration foster autonomy, a sense of being an agent in one's own life. But if this drive is met with constant punishment, ridicule, or over-control, the child is swamped with shame about their needs and doubt in their abilities. The legacy? An adult who is fiercely independent or paralyzed by self-doubt. Then comes the great gateway to the rest of our social life: school. Stage 4. Industry versus inferiority. From about 5 to 12, we enter the society of peers and report cards. The question shifts to competence. Can I make it in the world of people and things? We learn to read, write, do math, make friends. Success in these tasks, praised by teachers and parents, brings a sense of industry, a "I can do this" work ethic. Failure or constant unfavorable comparison to others breeds a deep-seated sense of inferiority. This stage doesn't just teach us skills,